So I just watched the post-fight press conference. David Benavidez, Anthony Yard. Benavidez was like, "I can't believe the sun's coming up." It was late. They did it late, even though it's in Saudi. The fights were very late because they had so many American stars on the bill, and they want the pay-per-view bag of Bam Rodriguez, of Jesse Benavidez, sorry, David Benavidez, I always call him Jesse, and the other guy, Abdullah Mason. So, they asked for the fights to be made late. I don't know what time it was in Saudi, but the main fight was like 2:30 a.m. in the UK. I didn't stay up for it. But in the post-fight press conference, in my analysis of the fight, I said, well, what's next for Benavidez? Is he going to fight Bivol? Well, apparently he said he's been avoiding him. He's been talking about injuries. I think that would be a super fight. That surely would be the next most likely fight, you'd hope. Benavidez has not been at light heavyweight for that long. And he's slightly fleshy at light heavyweight. But in the post-fight press conference, says, well, yeah, we're going to fight Gilberto Ramirez, and even gives a date. So I assume that fight is going to be set up next. And it'll be a huge fight in the US. You got Gilberto Ramirez, the flabby Mexican, with one loss, against the unbeaten David Benavidez, a Mexican-American Ecuadorian, with no losses in amateur or pro. So you can see how it's going to sell big. The interviewers even asked about Jai Opataya. What about Jai Opataya at Cruiser? And he said, yeah, of course I do it. Well, of course he says that. He's a fighter, That fight won't happen because everyone wants to avoid Jai Opataya. He's not a big enough international name to warrant the risk, which is why everyone keeps avoiding him. Like Gilberto Ramirez, who is a Oscar de la Hoya, Golden Shower Productions, champ and star. I never rate him that highly. Also, like Benavidez, he's recently moved up to Cruiser. He also looks slightly fleshy at Cruiser. Benavidez looks fleshy at light heavyweight. So, I don't know, man. If he gets a good bulking plan, good supplements, good PEDs, although, obviously, as Ottawalin says, he should never fail the test. And he's definitely one guy who doesn't look like he's on the PEDs, at least not the muscle-building PEDs. There are all kinds of PEDs, like EPO and stuff, to improve your stamina. It's not all about muscle. Franz Botha is the first boxer to fail a steroid test in boxing, Imagine that, against Axel Schultz, and he was always a fat cruiserweight. Gutsy, but fat. So, just because you don't look super muscly, it doesn't mean you're not on the PEDs, but it's a big jump now. It's a 25-pound jump to fight Ramirez, who is not the biggest cruiserweight, but I guess that would be the money fight. I would like to see Benavidez Bivol. It sounds like it's not happening, the way he was talking at the post-fight press conference. It sounds like they've tried to make the fight and Bivol's pushing back. Is it injury? Is it because his management don't want to fight? I don't know. But Bivol is coming to the end of his career. I think he's 34. And, you got to collect the bag. You got to collect the money. This is prize fighting. This is a dangerous game. Make that money. And, with his wife, Bivol's wife, desperate, to get the child support money. I don't know. He probably need a bit of money. But he might also be thinking, I don't give her no money, so I'm not going to fight. I don't know. But Bivol is an exceptional boxer. He's always been underrated. He was underdog against Canelo, and he schooled him. So it looks like we've got Gilberto Ramirez, David Benavidez. Super fight, I guess. It's going to be pay-per-view everywhere, and that's expected. But it's a good fight. Skill-wise, if it was a light heavyweight, I would have Benavidez a solid favorite. But going up to cruiserweight, putting on 25 pounds on an already soft body, You know, would he have any warm-up fights? Probably not. Probably go straight into the fight. Because, you know, these days, fights are easily made. You know, you don't want to take any risks with warm-up fights. Many warm-up fights have gone bad. You remember Tommy Morrison getting knocked out by Michael Bent, a guy who was given no chance. He knocked Tommy out in a round, and Tommy lost his big fight against then Lewis or Mike Tyson or whoever. So you got to go for the money. You got to go for the bag. You got to go for the cash money. So I believe we'll see Ramirez, Benavidez next. Unless Bivol gets a sudden change of mind and decides to sign a fight. But from the post-fight press conference, it just doesn't seem likely. And they even named a date for Ramirez vs Benavidez. So they've already started the work on that. And it's a great fight, so I have nothing against that. And if Benavidez wins, he's the 3-weight world champion, an unbeaten pro, and unbeaten amateur, and becomes a big name. And he's exciting. I liked him. I like to watch him. I like the way he's different. He came from being a fat kid to being a double world champion. He came back from doing yayo and failing a yayo test to, you know, now looking at moving up for his 3rd world championship. And I don't really rate Ramirez. The problem is the weight. 25 pounds is a lot of weight to put on, especially on a physique that looks fleshy even at light heavyweight. Still, I will hang my neck out and I will say Benavidez wins because of his accuracy, his work rate, his boxing skill. And I even think Ramirez is not a natural cruiserweight. So I'm looking forward to that fight, man. I'm very much looking forward to that fight. And I'm looking forward to the odds coming out. There could be some good value there. But at this point, I'm leaning towards Benavidez.